Hey, thanks for clicking on this video. My name is Zaji and today I want to share with you a little bit about some sewing things. In particular, we are going to be talking about this pattern that I am currently wearing. This is McCall's 8009 and I want to share with you my thoughts, my experience, all of that juicy stuff. So if you like sewing content, I encourage you to subscribe to this channel and continue watching. I'm sitting here as a girl in front of you who loves not only fashion and fabric and patterns, but loves when all of those things can come together and put a smile on her face. So here I am with my smile on my face to share with you a garment that I truly do love. I super am so excited about. And this is a pattern that I have had for a long time, and I have had plans of making this garment for a long time. I cut this pattern out at the end of the summer last year, and it's been sitting in one of my work in progress boxes, the boxes of shame, for some time. So you may have caught glimpses of this on my back wall at some point if you've watched any of my other videos, but I went ahead and pulled it down in March and was like, oh my gosh, I was so excited about making this last year. Let's go ahead and get it started again this year. So I pulled it out and I completely did this bodice inside out and wrong the first time around, and it's only because my mind was not really there. I was not paying attention closely enough, and yeah, I was having a lot of kind of blunders that I was going through because I was not being very mindful while I was sewing. I was making a lot of really silly mistakes that I shouldn't make if I was actually paying attention. So I spent a lot of time knitting this month, but this was one project that I just kept thinking about that I really wanted to get done, and after I rediscovered it, that excitement had just kind of built up in me again, and I didn't let all of that unpicking stop me. I did all of the unpicking and I still made this garment. So here it is, McCall's 8009. I cut out a size 12 of this pattern. The only adjustment that I did was to add 1.5 inches to the top of the pants of this pattern. So essentially I lengthened the rise of the pants so that it would be more comfortable for me to wear this jumpsuit. As you all know, I am 5'10". I carry most of my extra length in my waistline. That is where my measurements differ the most from standard blocks, and in particular McCall's pattern block. So I added 1.5 inches there, and it made this jumpsuit super comfortable. It fits me as it is intended, and I am very pleased with this pattern. As you can tell, this is something that I super love. It's not a very difficult pattern to put together. This is definitely one that I think you could put together in a weekend, and it looks so cute and so chic, and I think that just changing around the fabrics for this design could give you a completely different look. So I chose crinkle cotton. This is not a crinkle cotton. This is a cotton gauze that I got from Joann. I will put it down below if they still are carrying it. If not, then I'll try to find something similar. But this is a cotton gauze, so any kind of cotton gauze that you have, cotton double gauze that you have would work really well. I also think this pattern would be beautiful in linen. It would be beautiful in rayon. It would be so super beautiful in a crepe, or I think they have version A, it has a beautiful overlay over a solid fabric, and I think that would be really beautiful here too if you were choosing to do the sleeves. I like the fit of this garment. I like this style of bodice a lot. So I changed a couple of things around in the construction of this pattern just because I am not a huge fan of the way that they put this pattern together. There's not a whole lot of things that I changed, but I did record a video just talking about how I constructed this bodice and some of the changes that I made in a little bit more detail so you can see it better, and I'll put that video in now. Okay, so I'm just showing right now what we're looking like. And I've completely enclosed all of the seam lines for this garment. Don't mind all the stuff everywhere, just don't even look at that. But anyway, so the side seam, as you can see, I have completely enclosed. This yoke right here is also completely enclosed. This is the right side. This is the wrong side, I can tell because I have my understitching. And I also have completely enclosed the armhole seam because I am making this design sleeveless. So I love how this turned out. The one thing that I will say is that when I made this design, the real changes that I made was to basically cut out double of every single one of these pieces. And that's something that you'll want to take into account if you're buying fabric for this design, because you will need just a little bit more because the bodice is already doubled here. So these pieces are already doubled within your pattern recommendations. And I believe the back is too. Those are already lined. The yoke part right here, this one is the one piece that I think they don't specify that you cut out 2 of, but you'll cut out 2 more of these. And I chose to line just in the self fabric the same, and I think that that definitely plays a part also in how the finish looks. So if you can line it in the same fabric, I always try to. But, you know, sometimes just matching is good. I could have just done a plain black gauze or plain black linen or rayon or something to also go with this. And I just thought this was such a nice way to finish this design. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the process now. Let me grab my instructions. Okay, so I'm going to rotate this now so that you can kind of see the instructions as I'm talking about them. So I did everything the same. By the way, I'm making version C, I think. Girl, am I making version C or did I lie about that? Okay, no, I am making version C. So it's this version right here of McCall's 8099. And so what I did differently was I did all these same steps. But when it came down here, as you can see, I wrote it down just so I didn't forget when I came back to it. But on the inseam, so on this sleeve, so you'll follow these instructions completely. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and stitch the front to the back, and then put the 2 pieces together, the lining and the main, and then understitch the lining. And then what I did was I trimmed the lining arm size. So just right here on only the lining piece. I'm going to get in closer. I trimmed in 1/8 of an inch just right here at the edge of the lining. And then I sewed these together so that the fabric of the main will pull in towards the lining so that you don't have that seam as exposed when it is actually sewn up together. And so once I did that, I turned it out, pressed everything really nice. And then when I came up here to this step, I did these separately. I tend to just do all of my gathering at once because I really despise gathering. I don't know why. I don't like changing my machine to do gathering, so I do those all. So I had these as individual layers, but you can choose to do that now and gather up and everything to meet with your yoke. So once I did this same thing for the midriff front. I basted it on the first layer. And then the second layer I pinned to the other side, so onto the wrong side, sandwiching this in between the 2 mid-front linings. So I sandwiched those right in there, and I'm going to go, I sandwiched those right in there, and I'm going to go in and clip and everything. I just kind of wanted to show you what it looks like now, so it's not as bulky right here. But, and then that's when I came down to here. So you can still do this basting. I'm not a huge fan of basting in general if I feel like it's excessive. This isn't a very slippery fabric to work with, so I didn't think that it would be necessary to do that for this step. So what I did instead, so right here it shows you to do like the lining and things like that. But since my arm side is already connected before we got to this side seam here where I enclosed it. So what I've done, so I've just flipped my bodice inside out now. So this is a back lining piece. this is a back lining piece, and I folded over right at the edge here, and I'm going to see if I can try to pull in so you can see more of the layers. So I have the back lining, those are already together, and then this is my front piece. So these two layers in between are this layer right here, and I folded the back over around this to enclose it. So this would be the two back pieces, and I just put them together like that. I just enclosed the seam, and then when you pull it to the right side, you can see that it's perfectly finished at the top, and all of the side seams are exposed, are enclosed, so you don't have any seam allowance that is going to be on the outside of this garment. And I wanted to do as much of that as I could for this design. I'm not really sure why, but I've really been enjoying finding other ways that I like to finish things. And I do like, for when bodices like this, especially when it's double layered, I hate when they bunch up inside or ever come apart, but this makes them all together nice and easy. And when I come back to press this to be able to wear in the future, it is going to be a breeze to press these seams and have a really nice looking garment. And even just fresh out of the washing machine with just a little bit of air drying, or a little bit of tumble drying and then air drying, this will be such a pretty spring thing. I know that this is a black design, but I love how bright and fun these colors are, and I think they'll play really well in springtime. So yes, you all, I'm loving 8099. I just wanted to come on here and just share with you how I decided to do this inside, in case you wanted to have a cleaner finish on your jumpsuit as I have. I am going to, for these back parts, there's going to be a zipper here. So I'm not really too worried about it. What I am going to do though is finish with my serger along the edge here before I put the zipper in, and that'll be the last thing. The pants I'm not going to be able to fully enclose, which is fine. I really like the finish of this garment on the inside, and if I really was trying to enclose all of the seams, I could have French seamed the pants and the waistband into the pants as well, but I use my serger. So it's not really a preference thing. I just think that the way that this pattern is, I think that it just looks a lot better with the enclosed seam, and doing the binding, and that just was unnecessary to me. So anyway, I really like the way that this pattern came together. I think that if you are also going to make this pattern, I encourage you to buy just a little bit of extra fabric so you're able to double that waist piece and are able to make this design in the way that I made it, so that it is just nice and clean and finished on the inside. I finished this a couple days ago, and it just now has started to get warm, and tomorrow I'm going on a date with my hubby in this jumpsuit. I am going to wear a long sleeve top underneath it because we are going to be outside, so you will see it styled in that way, but I'm sure you will see this pattern so much more because it is so super comfortable. This is definitely a design that I can see myself making more of. I was literally hemming the pants, and I was on the phone with my husband, and I was like, I want to make another one. He was like, well, can you finish the one you have right now that you're working on? And I was like, no, I want to make another one. Jeez. I don't know what I'm going to make the other version out of, but I love this design. I love this design, and the only thing that I know I will change for the next design is to add pockets. Oh my goodness. Sigh. These pants are quite wide, so I think there's definitely room within this jumpsuit to have pockets and them not be real bulky and terrible, but I like to have pockets in my jumpsuits. I don't really care about them for dresses. I can really take them or leave them, but in jumpsuits, if there's something with pants, I just like for there to be some sort of pocket option. And I could have just cut out my own pockets and add it to this pattern, and I very well still can just, you know, open up the seam and add a pocket, but I feel like it'll be okay because I will make another version and I will put pockets on that version. And yeah, very happy. Pleased as pie. Pleased as pie with this design. If you are someone who is interested in making this design, I definitely encourage you to maybe take a stab at the way that I was saying to construct this bodice. I think that you'll be very pleased with that method. It also makes it super, super, super easy for you to press this when it comes out of the wash, or just making all of the seams and everything look nice. It'll be so much easier when you're going back to iron or steam or whatever it is that you do to take wrinkles out of your garments when they come out of the wash. I think that it's definitely something that I am always trying to do, to enclose waistbands and things like that, especially anything that's integral to the actual shaping of the garment. I love to make it enclosed instead. So yeah, I think that's really it for me. I'm happy to share this design with you. Thank you so much for watching this video. Leave me a comment down below if there's any patterns you want to see me try out, or if there's any patterns that you've seen me talk about in the past that you are really interested to see me make up. I would be so inclined to know that information down below. And yeah, have a good day. Bye-bye.